Hello, and welcome to our panel, Asian Label Bosses, presented by Gig Life Pro. My name is Priya, and I am the founder of Gig Life Pro, and I am so excited to share the stage with Laura, Taeko, and Moy, who are three industry professionals from Asia who are signing, developing, promoting some of the most exciting and well-known independent artists from our region, such as VannDa, Alextbh and Afghan, and Valentina Ploy. So we will kick things off with asking each of you to introduce yourselves briefly. Laura, let's begin with you.
Thank you for that, and it's really my honor to be here. My name's Laura Mam. I am the CEO of Baramey Production, representing from Cambodia, and really excited to, I think this is the first time to have a Cambodian voice on this stage, so thank you so much, Priya, for having me.
All right, Moy, over to you, one of the fastest growing music markets. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm Moy. I'm co-founder of VannDa. VannDa is an independent music label in Thailand, and we've been around in the business for like 9 years now. We have about 20 artists under VannDa. Yeah.
Incredible. Taeko?
Hi, my name is Taeko Saito. I work for Empire, which is a US-based company, and I am based in Tokyo.
Wonderful. I love that we have three such exciting markets represented on stage at one time. Laura, let's please start with you because Cambodia is a relatively new market, but it's such an exciting market with so much talent and so much energy and so much growth. So please share with us what inspired you to start your label and kind of the process of that.
Yeah, I think, just being here so far, there's been so much conversation about how technology is impacting the music industry now. I almost want to take everyone backwards a little bit with Cambodia's story, just because technology completely changed our situation. So when I started, my parents are refugees. Cambodia obviously suffered a serious genocide and experienced great devastation. 90% of our artists were killed in the communist regime. So our music industry was decimated, to be very honest with you. And when I was growing up, I didn't understand why we didn't have any original music. And I was growing up, I was listening to the music that comes out of Cambodia. It was completely 100% pirated music. And it was all Beyonce Cambodian covers, Thai covers, things like that. So I just didn't understand. It was very difficult and a matter of shame for a lot of Cambodians. So I happened to be in a all-girl punk rock band, all Asian girl punk rock band in San Jose. And after my time at UC Berkeley, I started in anthropology, was planning to do archaeology, accidentally ended up in the music industry because of YouTube. Thank you, YouTube.
Happy accident.
Happy
We're
accident.
very happy about that.
And we really just, when I started, I just wanted to do one original song and just say, hey, Cambodia, we can do an original song, right? And we did that. And the song went viral in Cambodia and across the diaspora and things like that. And it got me over to Cambodia. And what I learned when I got there, if you can imagine, for the people who are music, we take for granted that music is something special in our lives. We use it all. But when I got to Cambodia, I realized that the labels, which were then karaoke houses, were not allowing any original music whatsoever. So if you can imagine, for 20 years, no original music is allowed to be produced. And when I got down on the ground, I just couldn't believe that. And I thought, okay, I went to UC Berkeley. I've been trained in disruption. Let's go. Let's break this shit down. Excuse me, so sorry. But so I decided to do that. And I used Facebook and YouTube. This is YouTube 2008 when it was still like Spider versus Scorpion video. And I really thought, okay, let's just see, because I kept getting these messages from Cambodians who were like, please do it. So we did that. And when I went to the labels, they all said, absolutely no. You're going to destroy my market. I'm selling CDs at $1.50 per CD. You're going to destroy my business. So no, and then all closed doors on my face. So we decided to use, myself, many other original artists, we decided to use YouTube and Facebook to leverage that ability to be popular. We did that. We got really popular. I went out to the brands like Pepsi, and Pepsi said, hey, I can commit money to your music because it's legal. We totally murdered the business, and it was really, really fun. And then over time, the government was like, good job. And then it was great. And I think that what was wonderful is that over a span of about 3 years, when I first arrived 10 years ago, basically, original music was a completely youth rebellion movement. And 65% of the country in Cambodia is under 35. So everyone got behind it. And I think that everyone understood that music is not just a tool for entertainment and just a tool to say, let me be famous. It's a tool to roar and let your voice be heard and not be erased culturally. So all of our fans understood this, and we built the company slowly over time. I understood very clearly that I understood how to write a contract. I understood all these different things working with brand endorsements. My fellow artists didn't know that, so we decided to start Baramey Production. We did that, and it has grown to what it is today because every single one of our fans understand that this is not just a movement for being famous or putting Cambodia on a map. It is a movement of resilience. So that's basically the story of Cambodian music and where we are today. So yeah.
Wow, that's really impressive. Cambodia represent. Really amazing. Moy, when you started your label, I mean, the Thai market has developed so much. Just a few years ago, people are really struggling to engage with it because of language barriers and cultural barriers. So what was the scene like when you started What the Duck in Thailand so many years ago?
Yeah, so back in the day, I think when we start What the Duck, before that, the music industry we were a bit confused, and to be honest, we kind of struggling about how can we make money from the music itself, because in that time we didn't get much money. The only revenue that we have from the music is from the live show, which not much. And then around 10 years ago when we started What the Duck, finally YouTube came in, and then all the music streaming come in. So we start getting something. So the whole industry is getting better and better, and also for the artists during that time, with all the technology, they can easily make a music without advance from the label. So they can do everything by themselves. They can release everything, and then they can pretty much do everything by themselves in that time. So when we start With the Duck, when we're looking for the artists that can write a song by themselves, produce everything by themselves, and they're pretty smart. So you can't in that time you can't really just go to them and then you're like, oh, this is your contract. So it's not like that. They're pretty smart. They know exactly what they can do, what they can't do, what we can support them. So when I was start What the Duck, we have to be really flexible on the contract. Some of them, you even though you want to sign 360 deal with them, but some of them they not let you do that. So you have to be flexible. So that's how we start What the Duck back then. Well.
Wonderful. It seems like a lot of young artist education is the theme here with what you guys are doing, which is so wonderful. You alluded to YouTube and some other global platforms entering the market recently as well that allowed for you to monetize some of this music. So what are specifically the biggest infrastructure changes that you have noticed in the music industry in Thailand that has allowed for this record growth?
I think with YouTube and all the streaming, that's quite obvious. And what I have seen that's getting a lot better in the past few years is about live show. Back in the day, especially you are indie artist, you can't really do a concert or do a touring in Thailand. You just can't do that. At least you have to have a really massive hit song across the nation. So you might be able to do a tour, but when you do a tour in Thailand back then, the people not gonna pay you a ticket. So normally, alcohol brand would pay you a fee for performance, and then you go to perform at their outlet, so they can sell alcohol, and then you can, So that's how it was. But recently, I can see a lot of indie band. They have their own concert, they have their own gig, and we have recently we have a live house we never had it before. I think in the past few years, we have about maybe nearly 10 live house standalone in Bangkok. We're talking about 300, 400, 500 capacity. So that's a good thing. And not just only local indie. I have seen a lot of indie brand from Indonesia, Korea, Taiwan have a concert in Thailand, so which is, I think, is incredible.
Yes, it's been really exciting to see the Thai music scene, especially the live music scene, just explode. Live houses, festivals, you name it. It's an exciting market to be in. Taeko, Empire is relatively new to Asia, but it's been around for a while and has a lot of globally recognizable names. So why Asia? Why did they decide to enter this market and set up quite a presence very quickly?
Sure. I mean, to begin with, Empire has always known to dive into marketplaces where other companies weren't going into. So even 13 years ago, when Empire started out with his distribution for hip-hop artists, that was something a lot of hip-hop artists didn't have before. And so this is just identifying another market that is underserved, especially on a global platform. So that's kind of the reason behind diving into Southeast Asia and East Asia as well. And you know, Africa has been another territory that Empire has dove into and has shown a lot of success in. So it's just part of our story.
Yeah, it's really good point that you brought up the genre as well, right? Because interestingly, in Asia, despite hip hop being a relatively niche and small genre, some of the biggest artists, like including AWIT, who you work with, come from that genre. So
yes,
incredible. And prior to Empire, you were at Downtown Music Publishing in Japan, so also with an Asia kind of remit. So how did your experience working at Downtown prepare you for what you do today?
Sure. I mean, as far as it kind of mirrors what everyone else is saying today, is educating. Now that the independent music scene has grown so much across Asia, it is only our duty to teach and educate how everything works, how copyright works, and each country is so different, and some of them are not even set up yet. And it is, you know, part of our job to kind of help everyone set up. Yes, help Cambodia.
Great. There's so much opportunity for more growth, right? With the right kind of infrastructure and people like yourselves coming in with your expertise and knowledge to help set up all this infrastructure.
Yes.
Awesome. And Laura, besides just growing in Cambodia, you have several artists who I've seen perform and collaborate with some of the biggest artists across Asia. How did you do that?
Yeah, it was amazing. I think that, well, first of all, thanks COVID, because it was great for digital, to be very honest with you, but not great for everything else. But I think that, you know, we had a really lucky moment where our movement was growing really big in Cambodia. The young fans very much understood what we wanted to do. But at the time, the movement was still internal and still in Cambodia, like, wow, we're growing in quality. We didn't yet think about international. And my brilliant partner and CMO, Andrew, over there, put together this great campaign called Time to Rise. And it was a song written by our biggest star, VannDa. And it was the day before a lockdown. And funny enough, at Chartmetric was just talking about trigger cities. We put the song out on the first day of lockdown. Everybody watches it on TikTok. It breaks in Indonesia. First time for Cambodia to break across. We just haven't ever had music break across any border whatsoever. And one of the biggest things I was trying to say is that, like, I think that it's amazing for us because physical borders have been our challenge, and now digital borders have released us. So it breaks to Indonesia, it then breaks to Thailand, breaks to Vietnam. The messages coming in are like, welcome to the table, Cambodia. And for us, it was so inspirational. So we quickly decided to do subtitling, and I went at the subtitling from a cultural perspective because my background's in anthropology. So I decided to translate some of the lyrics that he had written were very, very spiritual. So I decided to use biblical language to actually portray the messages coming across. It came across. Then we decided to do the, I think we did 12 different subtitles, or can't remember how it was, but we did every single language, French, Spanish, everything. The song was breaking off, and it just built this huge kind of comment section from across Southeast Asia and beyond of saying, welcome to the table, Cambodia. Happy to have you here. Thanks for showing your culture. And Time to Rise was really a national call to Cambodians to say, hey, we don't need to stay in a mindset that we're used to losing, we're used to always being invisible, we're used to like not being part of anything global, being overlooked. And Time to Rise was a call to Cambodians to say, okay, it's time for us to show up again. But I do think that it also spoke to the region because so many of the words and the concepts have a cultural history that we all share. And there is a little bit of a colonial undertone to it all that says, yes, there's still wounds from that period of time, and we're gonna overcome them. And my brother and I like to joke a lot about what we call the brown window, which I believe we've heard the word globalization. It is giving the brown folks a chance to come out and show themselves in a way that we haven't before. So that's really where, when we did that, it built all of the opportunity. P. Gull from Thailand called us for a collaboration. We did run the town, and everything broke off from there. And from that point forward, Cambodia's borders were open. So it was amazing for us. And we, again, have just used TikTok, YouTube, Facebook to break down those barriers. And so I'm very, very grateful for that. And that's basically
That's incredible. I mean, I really love, yes, please, round of applause for this. I really love this trend of Asians supporting Asians, like not just overseas, but even internally. And it's so great to have you guys here to share exactly how you managed to do that, because you are the driving force of a lot of this stuff. You mentioned the borders being a challenge. What are some of the other challenges that you're facing now with promoting Cambodian artists globally?
Two things I think I'd probably mention for Cambodia. One, obviously, we don't have the infrastructure. We do need the help on publishing infrastructure. It's completely unknown. There's an educational aspect to it, but I do think because it's a youth movement right now, now's the best time to make publishing sound cool. So we can figure that out. So that's
call
one
me
thing.
later.
You know what I'm saying? But the second one being, I think that, for all the members in the room that are part of the global music industry, I want to say, I know that Cambodia looks like a smaller, kind of like irrelevant market. I keep hearing this term of like irrelevant, small population, not relevant, too small, hard to penetrate. Those are the words that I've heard constantly associated with our country. And I'm here to tell you, we're not. And just call me, and I'll make it good for you. So please help us out and get us more global. And thank you so much for the opportunity to be here.
Love it, love it. Moy, we kind of talked about how Thailand has been quite insular, and like 5 years ago, no one would have imagined that some of the most successful artists breaking out of this region are coming from Thailand. A lot of artists breaking out from Thailand across a variety of genres, from like Pyra to F-Hero. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean,
you're responsible for it as well with Valentina Ploy, right?
I don't think I'm qualified enough to answer that, but because I don't really have the success case yet to break the artist into international level. But I mean, it's quite obvious that in the past few years, there are some Thai artist movement to break into the international level, such as Pumipurit, Millie, Hive. So those three are so amazing to break into international market. Yeah, but I think the language that you're saying, I don't think that now is a big problem for Thai artists anymore. So I think because you can see that, take example for Zach. I think I heard his song and is went viral in Thailand, and I think Zach, he doesn't even sing in English. He sing in his own language. So I think the language barrier is not anymore right now.
I also feel like the production in Thailand has evolved over the last few years, from having a very specific Thai sound to, a band like Hives. You wouldn't even know where they're from, right? They could be from Europe or Australia or from anywhere. So are you seeing this movement, like also behind the scenes, of influences of global production?
To be honest with you, I'm still figuring out like how those brands, like Hive brand, they're so popular right now. I'm still figuring it out. To be honest, really, yeah. I think I think one thing that if you look at those three artists that I mentioned, apart from the music that they have, they're doing really good at the music, and also they build their own character. You know, they are really strong on the social media platform. So I think, you know, making good music isn't enough to break into another level. So I think it's a, you know, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. And by the way, I think we're all still trying to figure it out as well.
Yeah.
So, Taeko, you are building a team rapidly across the region, and you also work really closely with your colleagues in the UK and US. So, what are some regional and global goals you have for Asian artists on Empire?
For sure. We definitely want to find those right talents that make sense for our company, you know, that we can work together to build their presence across the globe. Obviously, a lot of these artists are very popular within their territory. Like you said, there's these border issues where in order to break them across the border, it requires a lot of heavy lifting and attention to details, whether that's subtitling all the lyrics into different languages or collaborating with other artists. And I think we want to find those acts that we can help take them to the next stage and introduce them to the rest of the world.
Wonderful. And do you have any like specific targets, or do you see any opportunities that you feel like Asian artists should be taking advantage of or could be in the future?
Honestly, I think so many ways that Asian artists could take advantage of. So now that, you know, COVID has kind of settled down, people are traveling across, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but there's a lot of foreign travelers coming into Japan, Cambodia, Thailand. I mean, Thailand, we just had Rolling Loud, and, you know, many hip hop artists rolled through, and those are the opportunities. Many Thai artists were on the same stage as some of the artists like Lil Uzi Vert and Cardi B, you know, and making those connections and understanding who they can be collaborating with, they can talk to. And these artists also want to break in all these local territories too. So for them, it requires a lot of understanding of the local fans. Yeah.
That's such a good point that you raised, because, and Moy, you mentioned this as well, right? That now there's live houses in Thailand. Every place I go now, I see so much other Asian represented on stage, and it's incredible, right? So I feel like that's a really good way. And sometimes it's just by chance, right? So I got to see an Indonesian artist, Teddy Aditya, who performed on the showcases here by chance at a Juicy showcase in Thailand. Right? And then that's where I discovered this artist from Indonesia. So really, really incredible and really encouraging to hear so much openness from within the region as well. Before we wind down, we only have a few more minutes, and I wanted to make sure, because we have quite a fun-packed room here, does anybody in the audience have any questions for our panelists? These are very, very exciting markets. And very confusing markets. Yes, please, Rob. Here. I can hand this over to you.
Thank you so much for everything that you're doing for Cambodia, a country I've spent a lot of time in and that I love very much. What would you say are the biggest influences for contemporary Cambodian artists now? You know, obviously, as you said previously, it was really a traditional sort of thing, and now they're breaking out into, you know, contemporary music. So I wonder what the strong influences are.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, obviously, today, just 3 years ago, it would be unthinkable to say hip hop would be on a major stage. You know, they would be like, oh, you know, the old Khmer grandmas are like, this gangster music, you know, they freak out. And then, of course, you know, we worked a lot in hip hop. And I knew early on, my brother and I both are big fans of hip hop. And I knew early on that hip hop has that origin. Of course, it's big, banging, great music, but it has that origin in surviving, in struggling, in resilience. And so I knew that the methods and the storytelling methods that are done in hip hop would resonate with the Khmer youth. And of course, there's a wide inequality gap when it comes to wealth in Cambodia. However, on the flip side, there's so many raw, beautiful stories, so many different types of levels of suffering and resilience that the young people have gone through, and many, many shades and colors of it. So when we got hip hop popular, and for example, our artist VannDa really blew up, it was in the song that blew him up was a rejection of wealth culture and was a rejection of being a pretentious a-hole, to be honest, and say, it doesn't matter how wealthy you are. What matters is my spirit, how strong, how gritty it is. And it spoke to the entire nation, from grandma to young baby kid. Everyone understood that we have been looked down on for a long time, and hip hop was the perfect medium for us to say, stop it. And like to express that anger, the pride, the grittiness, the survival. So I would say that that's really influenced and why hip hop is mainstream today. So today now, hip hop is the actual pop music, and we're trying to break into R&B and cool our heads a little bit of that. But the reality is that hip hop is an amazing music genre that speaks to people that are suffering and have suffered. So I think that, that's why it's so strong in Cambodia, and everyone understands the storytelling aspect of it. So that's really what happened. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you. Great question and fascinating answer. Any other audience questions? Oh, yes, over there.
Hi, I was just wondering, what does the live music ecosystem look like for independent Cambodian and Thai musicians now in Cambodia and Thailand?
I would say it's very similar to early days, just like Moy was saying. We're super dependent on the alcohol industry right now for live shows, but we're just starting to break into ticketing for the very first time. If you can imagine, ticketing, buying a ticket online is just arrived last year. And then streaming has just arrived as well. Spotify only just arrived last year. So it's completely changed our landscape. And that's basically what's happening. And I really hope, for example, TikTok music could really have a huge impact on us as well. So I think right now we're like a young Thailand, like a little bit far behind, but catching up as the technology changes. The youth are savvy, so we're going to stick to that. And I really hope to see streaming revenues rise, and then the live ticketing and hopefully music festivals in the future for us get bigger and bigger. But yeah, still dependent on the pub shows and the provincial concert for free. So that's really what it looks like, yeah.
Yeah, same. I think you already answered all the questions.
So before we wrap up, Laura, you mentioned a very interesting thing about class and money. And it just kind of reminded me that a lot of artists in Southeast Asia have mentioned this sort of issue where they feel like having a career in music is a luxury only afforded to those who don't really need to earn a living, right? So you have all proved that that is not the case. So a final kind of word of advice for any artists or professionals who are trying to make it or start their careers in this region who don't come from a lot of money or don't have access to a lot of money. So Taeko, we can start with you and Moy, and then we'll wrap it up with Laura.
Honestly, there's plethora of information on the internet, and you can look up a lot of free information that is going to be very helpful for you. And I think understanding how music and music rights and everything works, it'll allow you to make the best decision you can possibly make.
I love that. Do your homework.
I think now, we have more opportunity than ever that we have opportunity there, but the question is like whether we can deliver it or not. So I saw a lot of artists that's doing some simple mistake, but I think maybe I'm old school, I think, but I think the everything else, so you have to come to the music. So I think you have to keep writing a song, and then if you're good enough, they will come to you, definitely, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Laura, take it home.
I would say that the YouTube tutorial is amazing. So YouTube tutorial your whole career and you'll make it. It's all good. Don't worry about it. You don't need to. It would be great to go to a school for it, but you can YouTube tutorial your way to success. And I'll leave you with one interesting story about VannDa, our artist. He actually started out as a coconut seller, moved to the city, was homeless, went to internet cafes at the time, illegally cracked all the software on those computers one by one, and then learned to produce by using YouTube tutorials. And now he can afford to buy all of the equipment and the software for real. So yeah, I don't know if that's a good thing to say, but that's
Wonderful.
basically how he
The
did
last
it.
part of it was especially encouraging. We're just going to
Sorry.
ignore the other part in the middle.
And 100 million streams later, right?
100 million streams later, 1 billion views on YouTube. So
Really, truly, truly inspirational.
thank you.
Let's give a big round of applause to all three very talented industry professionals making Asia proud.